First quarter of 2025 is in the books, and we're slightly behind where we're at first quarter in 2024, which was slightly behind 2023. Our active inventory is the highest we've seen since 2011. It's hanging out around the 5,300 range, and sales, they've kind of pulled back from last year too. I was really hoping to see March's closings in the 12 to 1300 range, and it was just over 1100 closings. I'm reminding myself and reminding you that this is the beginning of our spring and summer market, and we'll keep an eye on what happens the next 3 months, April, May, and June, see where these numbers end up. Hopefully we'll see a spike up in sales, which will show that buyers are still here in our market. The interest rates are something we're going to have to keep an eye on as well. Fortunately, so far in 2025, interest rates have remained under 7%, and that's a good thing. If rates can remain where they've been at, maybe pull back a little to the mid to lower sixes, that could definitely benefit buyers who are considering getting into the market and buying a property here in the spring and the summer. Active inventory is 5,382 with 1,103 sales for March. This puts us at a 4.88 supply of properties available for sale. This is actually trending down from where the month supply was at the beginning of the year. However, we are higher than what we had March of 2024, which is just under 3.5 months supply of property. If our active inventory can maintain where it's at right now, somewhere in the low 5,000s, and our spring market bump up to the 12 to 1300 range that we have seen in past years, that'll pull our active inventory supply from the high 4-month supply to a lower 4-month supply, which I think is a positive thing. The days on market, the time it takes for a property to sell, is still high, but slightly lower than what we had seen at the beginning of 2025. Average days on market for March were 72 days. I'd like to point out that some of our properties are still selling quickly. We had 152 properties sell in 7 days or less, in spite of inventory growing and sales a little lower than what we had seen the last couple of years. Our average prices are still trending up. Average sales price for March was $453,000 compared to $443,000 in March of 2024. And the median sales price is pretty even compared to where we were at last year. It was $359,000 here in March 2025 compared to $360,000 last year. Something I don't talk about very often is the luxury sales, homes and property selling for over $1 million. Here in 2025, these $1 million sales are still up. And actually the first quarter in 2025 is higher for $1 million closings than what we have seen in the last 4 years. What are your thoughts on that trend? Let's head beachside and look at the condo market in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral. There have certainly been some positive momentum and up trends for the last 4 months. From December to March, each month we've sold just a couple more condominiums, kind of like those numbers. And total sales volume for March in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral was through the roof. We closed over $26 million worth of condo sales. This is a 14% increase over March 2024, where there were 23 million in condo sales total. And I do have an asterisk for these numbers because of the Surf condominiums in downtown Cocoa Beach. We had 8 more condos sell at the Surf. Price point was between $1.35 million and over $3 million for a total of $14.7 million in sales. Now that the Surf has sold all of the units, it's going to be interesting to see some of the condo trends we see from this point forward and if these numbers can hold up or not. Looking at the single family home sales in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral, we actually had a bump up in the number of closings with 11 sales this March, which is certainly a relief to see considering that January and February both had only 4 sales happening. Another trend I'm noticing with the inventory with single family homes in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral, we had a surge of new properties come on the market. There were 32 new listings this past March. This is the most new inventory I've seen come on the market in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral since February 2020. It's also the highest I've seen our active inventory for single family homes in Cocoa Beach and Cape Canaveral. So that's an overview of what's happening here in Brevard County for March 2025 to give you an idea of what's happening with our spring market. If you have been on the fence or starting to consider maybe 2025 is a good time for you to purchase a property, here's some things for you to consider. With our inventory where it's at right now, 5,300 properties available, this gives you as a buyer the ability to do some great negotiations. We can work on negotiating on the price, We can work on negotiations, some seller repairs. I'm seeing roofs replaced prior to closing. And it also gives you the opportunity to negotiate closing cost credits for you, which is money you won't have to bring to the table. 32% of the properties that closed in March, the seller offered some type of concession towards the buyer's closing cost. On average, this was $8,200. It's a good time for you to talk to your lender, to talk to your real estate agent, to put together a strategy for you to buy a property here in 2025. If you have questions about any of this information, I'm here to talk. This will take you to my calendar. Let's schedule a call. And of course, my contact information is below. My name's Eric Larkin with Real Broker. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you on the next show.